Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about the month of November if you're a Cancer sun, moon, or rising. So the month of November for you is going to be very much focused on travel. You may also start to feel very creative this month. You will also have a major focus on romance and your day-to-day routine as well. This is going to be the month where you finally start getting a lot healthier. You may find yourself exercising more frequently. This is also going to be a month where you start taking better care of your body, your health, the way you kind of experience your day-to-day routine. And things are going to start feeling a lot better as well. With Jupiter currently transiting your sign of Cancer, you may start to feel a lot more attractive, not only physically, but the people around you will also really begin to see this as well. Because we're going to have a major focus on Scorpio energy this month, especially after the 7th, this is going to put a major focus on your romantic life, and it's also very likely you may find yourself meeting more people. You may find yourself entering a new romantic relationship. Something romantic will begin to happen for you in the month of November. You may find yourself traveling to see family during the holidays. There will be some sort of major focus on these themes. You may also find yourself traveling to a different location that you are karmically supposed to be in. Saturn in the North Node brings a lot of karma into themes of travel, philosophy, themes of higher education, as well as spirituality. So you may also find yourself kind of looking towards astrology or other spiritual practices to kind of guide you in the day-to-day during the month of November. And you may also find yourself kind of focusing more on romance and also your creativity as well. This is going to be a time where you may create something kind of amazing in the month of November. If you are any sort of artist at all, this may be a major turning point for the things that you actually create, the things that you create with like pen and paper. If you are any sort of artist, designer, or if you're a songwriter, anything involving creativity at all, this will be the month where you have this major turning point and things begin to really work out in your favor. You may also find yourself kind of not so much focused on your home life this month. Again, you may focus more on travel and going from place to place. This may also be a month where a major door of opportunity begin to open up for you as it relates to travel. So if you're not traveling for the holidays and traveling to see family, you may also find yourself traveling for work, especially in the beginning of November. You may have to go on a business trip, or you may have to travel to a different location in order to do something for your company or any sort of business that you have. There will be a major theme around travel, and again, kind of focusing more on like philosophy and higher education. During the summer, you had a lot of focus on Aries energy with Saturn and Neptune transiting that sign. In November, everything is on Pisces energy for you. So it's not going to be so much focused on like achievements and success, but more about gathering more knowledge and becoming more worldly and expanding your own personal knowledge, like expanding your worldview and gathering more information. And that will be very prevalent during the month of November. Pluto is also in the sign of Aquarius, so you may find that the things you create take on kind of like an 8th house theme or an 8th house feel. You may find your creative work shifting and changing into stuff that's a little bit more deep, a little bit more intense. You may also find yourself kind of also attracting kind of intense relationships during this time as well. I always lean on the side of caution if you're a Cancer rising during this Pluto transit, because you're very likely to attract like obsessive lovers or very obsessive romances. On November 4th, we will have Mars entering the sign of Sagittarius, and for you, this is going to be very focused on your day-to-day routine. You may find yourself focusing more on your health. You may find yourself focusing more on your work life. You could start exercising more frequently. You could start attending the gym more often. You may also just really start focusing on eating healthy, and this may also be kind of preemptive for the holiday season, because we all know that around Thanksgiving, around the December holidays, we kind of have a lot of social events around food and eating. So you may be putting a lot of energy towards exercising and preemptively eating very healthy. This will also be an amazing time to make really strong connections with your coworkers. You may find yourself having very positive relationships with the people you work with during this time as well. And you may also find yourself just working very frequently. Mars transits the sign of Sagittarius Sagittarius for you, this is going to be a time where you are going to be having this kind of urge to work long hours or work more frequently or just doing a lot more. You may also be in a situation where you are preparing for the holiday season, like maybe you're taking vacation around Thanksgiving and the December holidays. And so you're leading a lot of work up front so you can have fun during the holiday season. That might be another thing you may be experiencing as well. It's like you're preemptively working a lot up front so then you can enjoy your holiday season basically. You will generally also just have like really good times at work as well, but you will be working very frequently. You may also be in a situation where the sky is the limit with what you can do for work. So again, kind of working long hours, not having a limit to how much you can do, and doing things in advance to prepare yourself for the holidays. Those are going to be some major themes that you're going to be experiencing. On November 7th, we will have Venus entering the sign of Scorpio. So during this time, you may find yourself feeling a lot more creative. You may find yourself focusing more on just like creative things that you want to accomplish. You may also find yourself focusing more on romance. It's very likely you could have someone enter your life who you begin a new romance with. You may find yourself having a lot of fun during the month of November. You may also find yourself just generally enjoying life more frequently and just having a lot of really good things come your way. This is going to be very positive for romance, for fun, for creativity. You may also find yourself attending more parties, or you may also find yourself traveling to a party, especially in the first half of November, which makes a lot of sense considering the month is like the beginning of the holiday season. And also we have Halloween on October 31st. You still could continue going to like Halloween parties like the week after Halloween. That might be something that could happen too. Or just generally having like Friendsgivings, that type of stuff as you get closer to Thanksgiving. But generally, this is gonna be a month where you're gonna have a lot of fun, you're gonna have some romances, and also just generally feeling a lot more creative. You may go back and kind of look at the things that you created during this time and be like, that is the bar. This is like where we want to be creatively. And you may go back and reference things that you create during the month of November. Venus in the sign of Scorpio for you is super amazing creatively, and you'll just have a major confidence boost. Like you'll start to feel so much better too with what you're creating and what you're accomplishing at the same time. On November 8th, we will have Uranus re-enter the sign of Taurus. And this is basically the continuation of the retrograde period that Uranus is currently in. It started its retrograde period in September in the sign of Gemini, and throughout September and October, it has continued its retrograde cycle in the sign of Gemini until we reach the 8th of November, where it goes back into the sign of Taurus, still retrograde until February. So during this time, you may find yourself kind of more focused on your friendship groups, friendship circles. When you had Uranus in the sign of Gemini, things might have been kind of intense, kind of chaotic, but when it goes back into the sign of Taurus, things become easier for you. You may start having a lot more fun. I feel like this is going to be an amazing transit for friendships, get-togethers, anything involving large groups of people. You may also find yourself like attending concerts, like out of the blue, like randomly attending a concert, or like unexpectedly going to like a music festival in November, something like that. Or you may find yourself unexpectedly receiving an invitation to travel to a party, a concert, some sort of sporting event. Like if you're really into sports, you might also experience that too. There will be some sort of like major theme around large groups of people and things happening very fast. You may also find yourself posting more on social media during the month of November. This could be part of your normal job. You may take on more roles of like a social media creator for anyone you work for, or you may also just generally start feeling really, really creative and start creating more content. That might be another thing you do in November. It will be very positive for anything you want to do creatively and sharing that with like large groups of people as well. So that is going to be something that is going to be up and coming, but it's going to feel a lot better for you than you experiencing Uranus in the sign of Gemini. So things will begin to get better after the 8th. On the 9th of November, we will have Mercury Retrograde, and it's going to begin in the sign of Sagittarius. On the 19th, it will go back into the sign of Scorpio. And on the 29th, it will go direct in the sign of Scorpio. So this Mercury retrograde that we're going to be experiencing is going to be very much focused on your work life and your creative self. This might actually go kind of hand in hand. You may find yourself reassessing your work life, your health, what you're doing every single day. If you feel like you hadn't been exercising that frequently, you may find yourself kind of thinking and kind of like trying to get more into exercise and eating healthier. And you may also find yourself kind of focusing more on your day-to-day routine. And during this time, it's more like trying to get more motivated to exercise, to eat healthier, that type of stuff. And also really thinking about what you're doing every day for your job. That's going to be another thing too. When we have Mercury going back into the sign of Scorpio, this is going to be a time where you really start to focus more on your creative self. So I feel like this will also have a theme of like your work life and incorporating creativity into your work life, and trying not to work too much so you can have like the best creativity, like making sure that you are giving your all, giving the best you can as it relates to these themes. So you may also experience that as well during Mercury retrograde. When Mercury goes direct on the 29th, you'll start to have more clarity and like more revelations as it relates to what you want to do creatively and with your work life. But that's basically going to be a major theme for you. You may also have some clarity around a romance. You may have someone come back into your life and revisit themes of that relationship. Be like, oh, I remember this person who I had this fling with. Yeah, I'm going to take these insights from this relationship and we're going to enter a new chapter of my life. You may experience something like that too during Mercury retrograde in November. On the 22nd, we will have the sun entering the sign of Sagittarius, and during this time, you'll have a lot of focus on trying to eat healthy, on your work life. This will also have a lot to do with exercise. So when you think about the timing of this, I think about the fact that we have Thanksgiving on the 27th. December holds a lot of major holidays. So because we have the sun entering the sign of Sagittarius, for you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you may find yourself really focusing on getting your work done before Thanksgiving, preparing everything so you can enjoy Thanksgiving, so you're not working on Thanksgiving. I feel like that's going to be a major theme, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, especially if you work a 9 to 5. You may find yourself working a lot so you can enjoy the holidays. You may also find yourself like getting really motivated to eat healthy and prepare for the holidays, or you may also find yourself like preparing mentally to be in a situation with like a lot of food, honestly. So you may find yourself eating healthy the days before and trying to eat healthy the day of Thanksgiving. That might be another thing you might be experiencing. This is going to be major energy on your day-to-day routine, exercising, eating healthy, that type of stuff, and also making sure that like you're preparing yourself and like scheduling yourself. On the actual day of Thanksgiving, we're having 2 major transits. Mercury will still be retrograde in the sign of Scorpio, and we will also have Saturn finally turning direct in the sign of Pisces after it's been in the retrograde period since July. So it's been quite a while since we've been experiencing Saturn retrograde. Saturn goes direct for you. This is going to be easiness with travel, easiness with conversations. Even though that we will have Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio on Thanksgiving, it's like for you, things will be a little bit easier because Saturn turning direct in Pisces for you will just make things a little bit easier for you. You may also have more luck with travel on that day. You may have just more of an easiness with travel if you go visit somebody anywhere. It's like you have to get on a plane. On Thanksgiving, things will become easier for you. If you have to travel from city to city on that day, things will be pretty good for travel for you. Mercury retrograde in the sign of Scorpio, you may find yourself kind of talking to your family or talking to the people who you are around on Thanksgiving about things that you are creating. You may also kind of have a focus on romance. They may ask you questions about your romantic life. And I would always kind of say, remember, we're in Mercury retrograde on that day. So just kind of take that into consideration. But generally, you'll have a pretty much easier time with travel and talking about anything involving like higher education and philosophy. On the 29th, we will have Mercury going direct in the sign of Scorpio, so things will become easier after that day. And on the 30th of November, we will have Venus entering the sign of Sagittarius. For you, this makes things more focused on your work life. You may find yourself coming back from the holidays and starting to really get into gear about your work life. You might be like, okay, I prepared for the holidays. Now after the holidays, I have to get back on the horse, so to speak. You may find yourself exercising more frequently, doing that type of stuff on that day after Thanksgiving. You may also find yourself like exercising more frequently and eating healthier too to prepare for the rest of the holiday season. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more astrology updates.